What is up, everybody? Kick06 back with another test video with a Ryzen 7 8700G. Right now we have Dead by Daylight. But before we get into that, I want you guys to know that the links to everything in my computer, as well as the link to my Discord, will be down below. And the final 6.5 minutes of this video will be the informational side of things, where I go over what settings I changed, what default configurations I changed for the APU, as well as the software that I needed to make this APU work as well as it does. Now, this game was really easy. I didn't expect anything too bad. I didn't expect this CPU to not be able to handle this, but we go through low, medium, high, and ultra settings, and I'm pretty much just going to give you a cheat sheet in case you don't want to go through and see them all. But all of the stats are there. Top left is the FPS and everything related to the hardware. Top right is where you're going to see which setting we're running on currently. But like I said, we do low through ultra. And one of the things I like to look at closest, normally in shooters, but in most games as a whole, are the 1% lows. So on low, we were normally right around that 80 FPS, and then the 1% lows were right around 60. As you can see right now, it's hovering right at 80, and 63 is the 1% lows. That's kind of what we saw in low settings. When we went up to medium and high, it was pretty much 60 FPS, and then 50 for the 1% lows, which is still perfectly flawless. 51% lows are great. When we got up to ultra is when we noticed a tiny dip. Not really a lot, but even in ultra settings we were still getting 60 FPS, but that 1% lows kind of hovered around 47, give or take. So you're not really gonna notice much of a change once you go between medium, high, and ultra. You're not going to notice much of a change, but 80 FPS and low, and it still looks pretty good. I apologize for the gameplay. I don't know how to play this game. I'm just making the video for you guys. But that is pretty much all I've got for the game. If you have any other questions about it, or you want to see a different game, feel free to put it down in the comments section below. If the game is free, cheap, or I already own it, I will create a video for you. I plan on keeping this test rig for quite a while so I can get some videos pumped out for you guys. But that's all from me for now. So if you guys need anything, hit me up in Discord, hit me up in the comments. But other than that, I'm out of here. Have a great day. I'll catch you on the next video. What is up, guys? If you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you found them helpful. Over the past couple days, I have tested about 20 different games, and this is kind of the part where I just want to go over with you guys my settings and maybe go over an issue or two that I had. First off, this right here is called FPS Monitor. I got it off of Steam. I believe it was a couple bucks, but this is where I got all the information that was in, I think, all but one of the videos. And I think CS Counter-Strike 2, I think, did not take this. I don't remember. One of them didn't like it and it wouldn't work. But FPS Monitor on Steam, I think it was a couple bucks, but that is exactly what I used. As for this is the Adrenaline. This is the AMD Adrenaline app that you will need if you are going to get the CPU or any of the G series from Ryzen. So HyperRX is well known for it being the best for FPS. It has the Super Res that was on, Fluid Motion Frames 2 that was on, Anti-Lag and Boost. All of these were on. You can go to quality, and I think it's pretty comparable, but based on my research, HyperRX is definitely the one that you want to go to for performance, and you can get all these. You can have your own overlay. You can set it up here. I just didn't do that because I like the way the other one was formatted a little bit better. Here's the system right now. I have 32 gig of RAM installed. There's the Ryzen 7 8700G as advertised. So right now it says there's only 24 gig of RAM, and I will tell you why right now. I went into the BIOS and changed the UMA frame buffer size to 8 gig, which means that I took 8 gig of the physical RAM and turned it into VRAM for the APU, so it would have more power. With 32 gig, that gave us plenty of room since most of the games today did not even get over 20 gig usage of RAM. So that gave us some extra FPS. So that's why I did it. I allocated 8 gig of RAM, and that's why right there. I had a question in my chat before that was asking me what version I was using of Windows. So there it is, Windows 11 Home. There's the version in the OS build. So the next thing that I wanted to show you was AMD Ryzen Master. This is where I go for basically the overclocking, really. So I set it on game mode, turned on Precision Boost Overdrive. On top of that, I came down to sock voltage. So the GPU sock voltage was, I set it to 1.275, and I will tell you exactly why. Once I got into the more demanding games like Halo and Warzone and Ark, the computer started just resetting on me, and it would just reset and go right back to the login screen. So I did a little bit of research on Reddit and YouTube, and I found one guy that said he had those same exact issues, and he said it was a voltage problem. So he raised it up to 1.275 volts, and it worked flawlessly, and it was stable, and he never had an issue again. I think, if I remember right, it was on like 1.15 or 1.175, something like that. So he didn't raise it a crazy amount, but over the past 7, I believe, the past 7 games that I tested, 0 issues and no issues, no criticals in the event viewer either. A couple other things in the BIOS, like I said, I allocated that VRAM. I made sure that the resize bar was enabled. I set the F clock to 2500 and the U clock was at 3000 because I used 6000 megahertz RAM. And XMP was on for this, by the way, in case you were curious. Let's see what else I have for you guys before we go out. So that FPS monitor app that I use, it showed the 1% and 0.1% lows. And I just want you to know that the first 20 to 30 seconds after I change to a different graphical setting, it kind of resets that. So the first 20 to 30 seconds are not trustworthy. So if I switch over and you see, oh, it's only 5... it's 5 FPS for a 1% low for 25 seconds. That's awful. It was not that bad, which is why it went from 5. In most cases, it went from that 5 FPS or 2 FPS all the way up to 30 or 40. It just had to reset, and it basically has to play catch up. One other thing I wanted you guys to understand, all of this testing was done on a 27-inch Asus TUF curved 1080p 165 hertz monitor. The frames were basically the frames were uncapped if it was possible, and if possible, every single one of these games was done in full screen exclusive. And the last thing I wanted you guys to know is that all of the recording and all of the FPS monitoring software was done on the computer while playing the game. So I did go back and I played 5 to 10 of the games over again just to see the difference in the FPS without having to run OBS and FPS monitor. And it came down to about a 5 to 13 FPS differential when the OBS and FPS monitor were turned off. When the game was the only thing running, there was an increase of about 5 to 13 FPS on average. And I know that's kind of a very precise number, and that's just exactly what it was. So that is going to be it for me. If you have any other questions or if you want to see any other games, please feel free. Put them in the comments below, and I will get to them. I plan on keeping this computer for a while. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Don't be safe, don't do anything stupid, and I will catch you guys on the next video.